If you're watching this video, then you're probably experiencing Premiere Pro's bad reputation for being slow and laggy firsthand. But even with its bad rap, the software is still fantastic, with powerful features, consistent updates, and interconnecting workflows with the Adobe Creative Suite. So, if you're looking for ways to make Premiere run faster, I'll walk you through a few of them in this video. The first technique to help Premiere run faster is to use a lower playback resolution. The program monitor, which is the main viewing window in the central panel, doesn't fill the entire screen, but still plays back the file's resolution in its native format. However, you can change the playback resolution so the program monitor displays the video at a fraction of its original resolution. That way, Premiere will need less processing power to play the video. To do this, select the drop-down menu in the bottom right corner of the program monitor, and then choose from half, quarter, or eighth resolution. It's important to note that when you're working with a low playback resolution, it may be difficult to see fine details in your footage. So, before you export, you'll want to review your project in full resolution to make sure that there's no issues. Lowering the playback resolution won't affect the resolution of your final exported media. It's just a tool to improve editing performance. The second way to fix lag within Premiere is to enable GPU acceleration. While Premiere Pro technically relies more heavily on the CPU, that doesn't mean that it doesn't benefit from using the GPU. In fact, you can enable GPU acceleration to boost Premiere Pro so it can process data-heavy files. To enable this, go to File, then Project Settings, General. Select the drop-down menu next to Renderer and choose Mercury Playback Engine GPU Acceleration. For any AMD users out there, some older AMD GPUs do not feature this option. Like a car that needs an oil change to keep its engine running smoothly, having a built-up media cache database in Premiere Pro can cause issues if you don't regularly delete files. Premiere Pro generates cache files during various different stages of your project to ensure a smooth editing experience. However, once your project is complete, these files remain. A large media cache database can clog your drive or approach the gigabyte limit allocated for Adobe's cached files. When this happens, Premiere Pro can't generate new cached files as efficiently. To delete the cached media files, go to Premiere Pro, Settings, Media Cache. Under Media Cache Files, click Delete. Next to Remove Media Cache Files. This simple step will remove unnecessarily cached files and improve Premiere Pro's performance. If you're working with an inefficient drive or using a hard drive instead of an SSD, you're likely slowing Premiere Pro down. Premiere operates more effectively when cache files are located on a separate drive from your project files. This avoids a bottleneck caused by retrieving all files from a single location. You can change your cache location by going to Premiere Pro, Settings, Media Cache. Under Media Cache Files, select a new folder location on a secondary drive. Do the same for the Media Cache database. This will allow Premiere Pro to utilize multiple drives simultaneously, improving performance. Even if you've only been editing for a few months, there's no worse feeling than when your editing software crashes and you panic, asking yourself, when did I last save? Autosave has saved me more than a few times, but while autosave is a fantastic tool, it also causes performance issues, especially if Premiere Pro tries to process something heavy and then starts the autosave process simultaneously. This can cause noticeable slowdowns on older or less powerful machines. To address this, you can turn off autosave by going to Premiere Pro, Settings, Autosave. Then, uncheck the checkbox next to Automatically Save Projects. Of course, disabling autosave means that your project will no longer automatically save. To compensate, remember to hit Ctrl-S on Windows or Command-S on a Mac every 10 minutes or so to save your project manually. Applying several effects to a video clip, especially anything involving noise or noise reduction, is another thing that dramatically reduces Premiere Pro's performance. However, if you're just trying to replay your footage without the intent to render anytime soon, you can temporarily turn off effects for the entire timeline using the Global Effects Mute setting. The button for this setting is located under the program monitor and is labeled as FX. If you can't see it, press the plus icon at the far right of the program monitor and drag it into view. This is a great way to troubleshoot if your system is underperforming or struggling with too many effects on the timeline. If your system is still struggling even after you've applied all of the other changes we've covered so far, a time-tested technique is to create proxy files. Proxy files are lower resolution, more editing-friendly versions of your video clips. They reduce the data rate and allow for smoother playback and faster editing. To create proxies, right-click on your video files in the project panel and select Proxy, Create Proxies. This will then open a menu where you can choose from several proxy presets, and then Premiere will launch Media Encoder to render these proxies. The proxies will then attach themselves directly to the original media clip. You may then need to activate them through Premiere itself by heading to Premiere Pro, Settings, Media, Enable Proxies. You can also toggle proxies directly from the program monitor by selecting this plus icon and then adding this button. If you click the button on and off, you can see this icon on the media clip also toggles on and off to give a visual representation of whether or not the proxy is active. Our final option for speeding up Premiere is using render and replace, which is especially effective if you're working with dynamically linked compositions to After Effects. Dynamic links allow you to edit in After Effects and have Premiere Pro update the linked clips automatically. However, this can cause significant performance issues on less powerful machines. To use render and replace, right-click on effect-heavy clips or dynamically linked sequences in the timeline. Then select render and replace. A dialog box will open where you can choose the format and video settings for the soon-to-be rendered file. Ensure that the format and codec align with your intended use for the final render, then press OK, and Premiere Pro will render the clip into a standalone video. This reduces the workload for Premiere Pro and helps ensure smoother playback and editing. However, ensure that the After Effects composition is finalized before using render and replace, as further edits will require re-rendering. With these settings, along with common practices like closing background applications, using fast storage media, and disabling unused media tracks, you should be able to edit more comfortably in Premiere Pro. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Then, head over to storyblocks.com for unlimited downloads of royalty-free 4K footage, templates to speed up your editing within Premiere Pro, music, and more.